I'm tired of not making enough money. I'm tired of working so much. I'm tired of not being enough. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm fucking tired. I'm just tired.
Looking at the news, I've been looking on social media, and I just had to tap in real quick to say this one thing to social media. You know, people are out here sending people off with ICE. Got to get people out of this country that don't belong in this country because they're here illegally. Let me tell you something, America. The people that you're sending with ICE is not your issue. Your issue are American born and raised people. Okay, your issue is this country have a bunch of oppressed people turning in literally in front of our eyes into a third world country. People can't afford to eat. They can't afford to live. They can't afford to pay for school. They can't afford to pay for health care. And when you have oppressed people, this is the type of shit that happens. All this shit that we see, all of this gun violence, all of this losing minds, it's happening because people just don't know how to be anymore. Tupac told us a long time ago back in the 90s. He told us that oppression, when you stepping on people's neck, they're going to eventually kick in doors and stuff. This is how it all starts. So while y'all sitting in y'all mansions and looking at TV or sitting in your penthouses on the 51st floor, wherever you at in America, on Capitol Hill, in the House and the Senate, in the Supreme Court, in the governor's mansions, wherever you guys sit at, look at the fallout of your bullshit choices. Look at the fallout. America is falling apart. When I tell you America is #1 ghetto, that the world look at us and laugh because we're a joke. I mean, for real, I can't even tolerate TikTok no more. Everything has changed. It's like we went to sleep in 2020 and woke up to apocalypse. And things have never gotten better, and they're steady getting worse. Welcome to America. This is America.
Shalom. And all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Badash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching His truth that's going all around the earth. And shalom to the hope of the elect out there. It's your brother Atazawam from the Great Millstone here in St. Louis. Real quick, we're going to get into a lesson off of those two clips I put in the front. All right. And we see that, the oppression that's going on here in Babylon the Great, right, is causing, as the people say now, it's causing an effect known as a crash out. Okay, you're starting to see all types of people, all manners of people, men, women, regardless to how they look, right, are taken to social media to discuss their displeasure with this land of the free and home of the brave and where all your dreams come true. Okay, and so do all the nightmares. That's the other part they didn't tell you about. So we'll just jump into a few quick scriptures, all right, and we'll be done because, every day we see the hand of the wicked, right, that is going about the earth, all right, with their falsehoods, their lies, okay, to the people that unknowingly or for some knowingly, have supported the ideologies and ideas, okay, for these people that you call your leaders here in Babylon the Great, who have double-crossed you. But ultimately, it is Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all right, and this is the plan, all right, for Babylon the Great, if you will, all right, for the destruction of this place. And people are going to weep and howl, okay? They're going to voice their displeasures about this place because no longer do they see an end, to this thing, right? They don't see the sense of going forward, and that's the people of the world, right? But the elect of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we cheer it on, okay? We can't wait, for the destruction to come to this place finally. All right, so let's just get right to it. We'll go to Proverbs 29:2, and it reads, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." And that's what you see all over the earth, right? There's a certain group of people, all right? These Khazars, okay, these Amalekites who all over the earth have had their way for some time, and then over there in that land has caused great uproars, all right, over there with the neighboring state, of Palestine and various other places all throughout the earth where they have their tentacles, right, where they control, especially here in Babylon. Babylon is the bitch of that government over there in that land, okay? And the people over here in Babylon, are being told what to do, okay, for that small state, where these bastards are dwelling in our land, okay? And you can read the book of Joel, all of it, it's 3 chapters, to understand everything that's going on, and that we will eventually hit World War III. That is a prophecy, all right, in Joel chapter 3. But anyway, let's move forward, all right, because the blame is on these particular people, Esau, Edom, all right? You can't get around it, There's no way to not know that these are the people that are running the world right now, all right? And their world is coming to an end, all right? So with that, let's go right here to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Let's just jump down to verse 7. It reads, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" Right? So this is what you're beginning to witness here is the end of their world. All right? And they're fighting tooth and nail to keep control of it. But the prophecies, you can't stay the prophecies of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It's going to happen no matter what effort they try to put in. And as we always go into week in and week out, there's certain things to keep your eyes on. One being the MOTB, right? Then you have the famine, the famine of the word. And then you have also a literal famine of food. And over there in that land, then there's a lot of people over there that's been starving ever since this scuffle or skirmish has started over there. All right, so there's various things to watch for. Like I said, the MOTB, the famine of the word, right? You got World War III. So it's just a few more things that need to happen to the end of this thing. All right, and this will be the end of the first, right? And the beginning of it that followeth. Verse 8. He saith unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, right? So that means that Esau would still have to be here on the planet. His seed line would still be here at the end of this current age, all right, or world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? And that would be the Israelites, okay, considered to be Jacob, and at this time the elect of Israel. Lord's will, we're part of that number and receive salvation. Okay, but the world of Esau is crumbling around you right now. All right, let's go over to 2nd Ezra chapter 9. I'm gonna make this quick. It's not much to be said. Like I said, you look at what's going on in the earth, and you can tell that you're at the end. Okay. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. It says, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And that's how you do it. How do you measure the time? Well, you got to know the scriptures and then be able to sift your current age, your world events, your news events through the scriptures, okay, to understand the time period that you're in, right? And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and that's what a lot of these, if TikTok didn't do anything else, it allowed the everyday common person to voice their opinion about what they think and see. All right. And that in and of itself is a key thing in this age, because this is how you can measure, one of the ways that you can measure the temperature, so to speak. You know, you can measure the thoughts of the people and what they actually feel. Because so long as the media was controlled, if you think to prior times, prior to 2010 or so, this type of activity wasn't out there. Okay, you wasn't able to view or listen to other people vent their frustrations per se, right? Worldwide, that is. But these apps that they put out today, you know, have really made the world, as it were, smaller, right? So that you can see everything in real time. All right, and you can hear everything in real time. You can hear the thoughts of the commoners, if you will. All right. Verse 2, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and the end is manifest, right? So the Lord has given a certain portion or a certain time to everything, and even to this current world as you see it, right? That the end of it is manifesting itself as it's supposed to, as it's prophesied to do so. All right, going on to verse 5, it says, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and signs and effects, Salakia, and effects and signs. Okay, so we're starting to see the evidence of some of these things that we read about, that are prophesied about, starting to come to pass in our lifetime, right? So death and destruction is a part of that, and that's what you're beginning to witness. You're beginning to see the people, the uproars of the people, complain about a wicked king here in Babylon, right? Not being able to eat, not being able to take care of their families, working way too long, too hard for too little. Okay? Verse 7, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning, right? The elect of the Lord. Then shalt they be in pitiful case, all the rest of you, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. You see, so some of these torments are what you're starting to see the people complain about now. The lack of security, right? The lack of safety, right? In their everyday lives. You know, gone is the mirth of Babylon the Great. Okay? There's no more, as they would say, having fun or enjoying life. You know, those who may be doing a little bit better, you know, and a little bit more well off, well, it hasn't gotten to them yet. Okay? But those of the common folks, of the working class, are struggling. Okay? This is Ezekiel 3 and, yeah, we're jumping right there, verse 16. And it came to pass at the end of 7 days that the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. Right, and that's what the prophets, the teachers, the men of the Lord, who you find mostly here on YouTube, okay? But you find us also out on the streets preaching once a week, twice a week, right? Doing these video lessons and so on, right? As a watchman, particularly for the elect of the Lord, because that's who we're fishing for, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, we're fishing for the elect of the Lord, all right? Not everybody, okay? But it is our job, as it were, to do the will of the Heavenly Father, all right, and the only begotten Son, that we would fish for the elect of the Lord. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. And this is what we do. We give the warning, since we don't know who's who. We give the warning to all, right? We read about the judgments of the other nations, because why? Israel is mixed in these other nations and come back looking like some of these other nation people, right? And to our own kind, right? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, Haitians, West Indians, Jamaicans, and so forth, and so on, all right? We give you the warning from Yahweh Shem Yahushai that you need to repent and come back before it's too late. Verse 18, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Right. And so we preach this gospel to keep the blood off of our hands, all right, to make sure that we do the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And once we do that, and if a wicked man doesn't listen, well, then that's on him. Verse 19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul, right? And that's the whole purpose of the ministry of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and his workers, okay? We all do the will of the Lord, and that is to warn you as a watchman. That's our job, okay? Now, you can receive it, you can reject it. It's all a part of the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. We don't have anything to do with that, all right? Because we're trying to deliver our souls, if at all possible, all right? And it takes faith to believe this, all right? We'll get a couple more here. Let's see here. Let's go into Revelation. Let's start right here in Revelation 3. And it reads, Revelation 6:3, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Right, this is Esau, Edom, you know, his Roman Empire, his power structure, and so forth over the course of this time period, okay? That he would be in the earth to take peace out of it. And you don't see any peace, particularly when you're thinking about that place they call the Middle East over there, all right? So, which clearly, you know, as the scriptures say, really, that those are not the people of the Lord, because there would be peace on earth once the Israelites actually go back to that land, because the Lord is going to carry us back to that land, right? We're not going to get on any planes or boats and fly back over there, okay? But nonetheless, because of the power structure of Esau, Edom, the red horse, who is also known as the pale horse, all right? These people have brought nothing but death into the earth, taken away the peace and safety, all right? So let's drop down to verse 7, where it says, Revelation 6:7, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast saying, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Okay, so this is Esau, Edom, who's bringing forth that death, because everywhere they go, they bring death, and hell follows behind them, right? That death and torment and all the hardship and pain, starvation, and so on. You know, as it says, hunger, all right? With these people in power, you know, as the one scripture says, paraphrasing, if the Lord doesn't shorten the days, there will be no flesh saved, all right? Because this man is a wild man. He's wicked, you see? And so you see that Eve in that clip, you know, complaining about how life is today. Well, you still, with some of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans don't understand is that you still under the curses in terms of how your life will be played out, right? Not all of the curses will hit you all at one time. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. You know, that's up to how Yahweh Hashem Yahushua does it. You see, but you'll have this thing where people will begin to lose their minds, so to speak. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:28, it says, "The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart." Yeah, and these people are perplexed in their minds. You know, they're perplexed in their heart. You know, they can't figure out heads or tails, right? They can't figure out how they're going to have this glorious life here. You know, how they're going to make it from day to day. You know, how they're going to get their medicine for the week. You know, am I going to have to decide whether I'm going to eat or buy my medicine? Or what am I going to do? I've lost my job now. You know, I'm getting ready to be put out in the next 30 days. So on and so forth. And Jake is losing his mind. You see? Verse 28, "And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways." You see? So, you know, while your Christian preacher tells you to sow a seed so that you can prosper and get a 100-fold harvest, you know, Jake is thinking that if they give up their rent money, you know, the Lord is going to multiply it in 30 days and give them a 100-fold harvest, you see. And the Christian preacher got you tricked. All right. And that's just one, you know, idea of how, you know, Jake does things not from the pureness of heart, but thinking that they could get something. You know, they'll do it if they believe that they could get something out of it. All right. And not really submitting themselves unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You know, they still believe that jackleg Christian preacher. Okay. Anyway, going on, let's finish it out. "And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee." Right. It's going to take Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to save you. So if you think that sowing a seed in your Christian church and your mega church and your mega pastor and so on and so forth is going to help you, I would say that you're wrong. Okay. And as for that other fella that was in the front, you know, we don't know what he is. He could be a scattered Israelite, right, a speckled bird. But even if he wasn't, what? The Lord said that he was going to put these curses upon your enemies. Deuteronomy 30:7, "And the Lord Yahweh, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." So if he's a Jake, you know, he's under the curses. And if he's of the other nation people, guess what? He's under the curses. Because this place, you know, the Lord is delivering. There's been a great awakening of the Israelites, right? And the world hates it, okay? They hate it. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are waking up, you know, to the idea that you are the real chosen people of the earth, right? And so these other nations are going to begin to feel these very same curses that we you know, are under, per se. All right. This is Jeremiah 51:5. It reads, "For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his power, of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense." All right, Babylon the Great, all right, the daughter of Babylon, all right, is where you find the bulk of the Israelites now, of all the tribes, okay? And so mentally, we detached ourselves. Spiritually, we detached ourselves from this place, from its ideologies, its philosophies, of all you can. All of you come to America and you can be whatever you want to be. You can have whatever you want to have. All you got to do is work hard, and you'll be a success here in Babylon. It's bullshit. All right. It was always that carrot dangling in front of that jackass or that donkey to make him keep working and slaving, right? Promising you something that will never come, okay? And now the people see it, all right? Verse 7, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, right? So we can literally apply this to our current day and age, because the whole world as you know it, all these other nation people all around the globe hate America, right? And America's support for that place over there in the Middle East that they brought into existence as a state in 1948. Okay. Verse 7 again, Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, her philosophies, her ideologies, right? Therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. And that's one of the things they're not telling you. A lot of these other nation people have come to America, sucked off the titty of America, have gone back into their countries and built their countries up, right? And then the other part is that there are a lot of other nation people have been leaving Babylon and going back to their countries just because they see what's getting ready to happen to it, okay? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone to his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. Right, the judgment of Babylon the Great must come. Okay. Verse 10, the Lord Yahweh hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh our power. Right, and the saints of the Lord, the elect of the Lord. Right now we are rejoicing over what we see. All right. And may Yahweh Shem Yahushua bless each and every one of you out there, as you listen to this lesson, right? That the Lord keep the spirit upon us all, right? So that we can make it out of this place. Revelation 17, this will be the last one, verse 1, and it reads, And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, which is what? America. It is the great whore, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Right, just like what we just read in Jeremiah. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, which goes into NATO, okay, the beginning of NATO and now NATO and the EU. Verse 4, And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of fornication. And that's what you find here, right? You have the rainbow people, okay? You have other inordinate, weird sexual activity that they say is all right here. You see? This place is wicked. Verse 5, And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? This place is the abomination of the earth. And all these other nations drank of the wine of this place. Okay? They did business. They just as guilty. Okay? But nonetheless, this place has to be destroyed. So as you see these crash outs, all right, you see these people sitting in their cars recording themselves crying because they can't make it to the next day. All right, this is what Babylon has produced. You see? All right, so pretty much that's going to do it for the lesson. All right, just hold on. you know, because things are about to get worse. You know, you better pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that He give you the strength to endure until the end. All right, so with that, I'll close and give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Shalom.